Hey everybody, thanks for tuning in and listening. If you're playing this right now, it's December 20th, 2022, and this episode was actually recorded back in June of 2022 when Mrs. Jillian Carroll was still the host of Good Day Kansas. So she's since moved on and is on to bigger and better things now, but I want to thank her for all that she did at Good Day Kansas, giving people like me the spotlight for a day and just showing the world kind of what we do out there. It means the world to me. And I can't thank her enough for that. So thanks, Miss Jillian. We're going to miss you on TV every day. But we also wish you the best in everything that you're doing now as you've moved on. So thank you for letting me upload this episode, and I hope that you all enjoy it. So this is her story when she was still at Good Day Kansas. And, hope you like it. Thank you.
Take a moment to breathe, grab a beverage or two. We got professional guests with lots of stories for you. So take a seat right here and join us on Careers Over Beers.
Welcome to Careers Over Beers podcast. I'm the host, Jesse Krause, and welcome to the show, Miss Jillian Carroll from Good Day Kansas.
Thank you so much. I'm very happy to be here today.
Thank you so much, first of all, for having me on your show.
Yeah, that was cool. We really appreciated learning about what you are doing with your podcast and a little bit about real life as well. But we had a great time, so thank you for that.
Yeah, we had an awesome time. You and I kind of do the same thing almost, like in a certain way.
Yeah,
you
for
know?
sure.
We're definitely in the same field here because I just drink beer with people and talk about what they do. But you're actually going all over the place.
Yeah, so I don't necessarily get to drink beer with people, but I feel as if we do get a chance to learn about people, what they do, and kind of a little bit about their industries, their passions, which is really, I'm sure you enjoy it. I know I feel very blessed to call that my job.
Oh, it's awesome.
Yeah.
I love hearing about it, you know.
It's cool.
You learn so many things as well, just doing that and hearing people's stories. You brought some wine today.
I did.
You wouldn't let me buy it.
No.
You brought your own.
I had to make sure it was local. Not that you wouldn't go local, but this is our friends over at Grace Hill Winery. They do such a great job. So this is their El Gato Moscato. I have been fans of them since the beginning. I've only been in Wichita about 3 years now, just over 3 years, and I met them early on. And they let us come out. We stomped grapes with them.
Are you serious?
We did.
I've always wanted to do that.
It was fun. And Jeff is the guy over there who really informed me that apparently there was an anchor who did a terrible job. Well, she had a terrible mishap when she was stomping grapes live on TV, and she fell. I think she ended up severely injuring herself.
Oh, no.
And it was a terrible video, and he showed me the video right before we went and did our segment. I'm like, Jeff, like if I fall over.
What the hell did you show me that for?
But it was great. It was a successful grape stomp, I would say. And they're just great. You know, they're locals, and they keep everything in, local. And no matter where you are, I feel like around Wichita, you can find their stuff. So I'm a big fan of it.
They're not actually stomping grapes for all of their wine, are they?
I think they do a large portion of it.
Do they really?
It's more of like a fun activity.
I was going to say, surely we're not still doing that. Like it's a necessity.
Yeah, no, I think they just know how to have a good time.
That's awesome. I've always wanted to do that.
Yeah.
Looks so fun.
Cool. And I didn't fall. I was very grateful.
Were they red grapes?
They were purple.
Purple grapes?
So I guess so. I think probably a blend.
I guess they make white wine out of green grapes.
Green
I'm
ones,
assuming.
I believe. I can assure you I did not stomp the grapes that made this wine.
That would have been really cool.
Kind of.
All right, well, let's bust into it. I'll let you go ahead and open it. Pour yourself
Thank you.
one.
I appreciate it, and I appreciate you. I know sweet white wine is not always
I'm not very picky. If you've been watching this podcast, you know I don't really get picky about things.
Yep.
Even if I don't like it, I'll suffer through it.
Well, you have to try it, and it could be a bit more chilled. I apologize. I had a bit of a drive, but I just love that you can find their stuff locally, and they're just great.
That's cool that you can.
Owned and operated.
Your favorite wine made right here in Kansas.
Yeah,
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's one thing. I might go on a tangent, so pull me back if you want.
Go for it.
That's one thing I've been shocked to learn about how many wineries are across our state.
Yeah.
And with our show, we've gotten to explore a large majority of the state. We found some really cool ones.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's been fun. Fun.
Everybody just thinks California or Italy or
Yeah, who knew?
Kansas.
We have an urban winery in Wichita, Kansas, and it's the first African-American female-owned urban winery.
Is that right?
In our state, and gosh, I'm willing to bet maybe even the region. But Jenny Dawn Sellers, have to shout her out. She's incredible. And it is right downtown Wichita.
Really?
Yeah.
Is that the place where you can actually drink there too?
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
Yep,
I think I've seen that.
You can. It's a venue. She's just expanded. It's at so it'd be the south side of Union Station.
Yes.
She just gets it, man. She's doing some really cool things there.
I'm gonna have to check that out.
Yeah, and a trailblazer as well, which I always love. So.
Well,
cool
let's
stuff.
cheers, Jillian.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Thank you so much.
I appreciate it. I haven't had this in a little while.
Really
I
good.
love it. What do you think?
I like it.
I love.
I'm not against
stuff.
sweet wines. I'm just against the hangover they give me.
Yeah, unfortunately.
It is a little like grape juice, but
Yeah.
that tastes better than a dry wine. Dry wines have their purpose, though.
Yeah, I feel like not that it's summer just yet, but I could do dry more so in the winter time than spring summer.
Yeah. No, that's actually really good.
Yeah.
That's something I could drink fairly often.
There you go. They've got they have so many different reds, whites, sweets. They've got a lot.
You can buy this in any liquor store around
Yeah,
here?
for sure. I would
Really?
say almost any local liquor store you could probably find it.
Cool,
That's where
cool.
I found it. Yeah.
All right, well, you kind of got into a little bit what you guys do already. People that are listening, she goes around and sees everybody. You interview everybody, including myself.
Everybody.
How did that even start?
Yeah, so it's so cool, and I'm, very aware of how blessed we are. We have a great job. My team and I, we are. It's hard work, don't get me wrong, but it is so cool. So our program is called Good Day Kansas. We are considered. I see the shirt. I'm like
Repping that shirt.
pretty hyped that you have that on. Not gonna lie, but we travel across the state, so we cover the state of Kansas. We are considered a lifestyle and entertainment program. So we are not news. I have the utmost respect for news reporters, news anchors, meteorologists. We are just not that. We aim to celebrate our community, and we have different, I would say, content areas that we focus on. For the most part, it is everything possible, everything local, right? And then it's just the people and unique businesses, places, things going on. But at the end of the day, we are 98.9% local.
That's pretty specific.
99 on a good day, but every now and again,
You'll
there's
venture out every now and then?
like there's cool things that are national things but happen locally.
Yeah.
So we'll do that too. But we are lifestyle entertainment, so you name it: sports, food, fashion, gardening. We talked about today. Interesting people like yourself, arts, music, travel. I'm sure I'm forgetting something, but we
Basically anything.
Literally, there's pretty much a way we can find to support you and your business on our show, as long as you are local, as long as you are, for the common good and positive and healthy and all those things.
That's so cool. I mean, you're really helping out a lot of people.
Yeah, we try. It's we've had some amazing, stories where, even through the pandemic that we all lived through / are continuing to live, hopefully moving out of. We've had businesses that, have reached out and just been like, this segment aired and our phone hasn't stopped ringing.
Yeah.
And, it's so cool to know that we did our little part to help. And so we hope that that's our MO. Like, all we want to do is help. And we recognize the platform that we do have. So to share a business or an initiative, we definitely want to do that.
So from day one, was that what it was all about? Was just helping people out and giving them some of the spotlight, giving them a chance to shine?
Yeah, that is, our program is under the sales department at KSN. So we are also utilized, I would say, quite heavily at times for advertising. So there are also, there are businesses that utilize our airtime, our commercial time within our show, within our 30-minute program. And they do just use that as their heavy advertising marketing. And they put a lot of their budget toward that. So I would like to say it's a 50-50 split. I think that there's ebb and flow. Sometimes it's a little heavy on the advertising side. Sometimes it's a little heavy on the we get to choose side, which we love that. But, it takes a little bit of both in order for our program to be on air 7 days a week. We're on twice on Sundays. We get a lot of airtime. So
I know. That's one thing.
We're very, very grateful for that.
That's one thing I noticed when I was watching my segment on there is that you have a whole 30 minutes there, and you're
Yeah.
usually doing at least 2 or 3 people, right?
Yeah, so we break our show into 5 segments. The first segment typically is my co-host and I just saying, hey, thanks for being here today, a little bit of what you can expect, and also, our show fills up with content, so oftentimes there'll be people that want to come be on the show, we just don't have room. And so we'll try to discuss some initiatives or events in the very beginning of our show. And then the next 4 segments are typically for different businesses, guests, places, whatever we're kind of highlighting that day.
So how did this idea all come to fruition? Like when you first thought of it?
Yeah.
What was the beginning like?
I would love to sit here and say like it was my idea, but this style of programming is becoming very popular across the United States. So I was very lucky to be a part of a very similar show in Kansas City. The only difference was, and I say only, it was kind of a big difference, but we were lifestyle entertainment, but we were a live show. So we were not pre-recorded live to tape. We were, for example, if you were on our show that day, Jesse, you'd come to our studio.
Okay.
And so you'd come in and it would be a live interview. And it would be a similar feel, 3-ish minutes. Who are you? What do you do? However, it would be in our studio, where that's great. In that studio, we had a kitchen and we had different options, but it wouldn't show kind of your business.
That's what's so cool about yours is that you're showing off, like for mine, for example, like my set here.
Yeah.
People get to see that and what it looks like. Or if you're at the zoo or you're somewhere else, you get to see where they're working all day long. So you're bringing that whole other aspect into it.
Yeah, as much as I loved the experience I did have on the live show, because I have a little bit of like love for live adrenaline, all that. I love that.
Yeah.
And I have a deep respect for the live television world. What we have gotten here and kind of developed here, we've found for our geographical location and Kansas being, such a vast state and we get to cover all of it, it does work better for us in order to, get out to the farm and learn about what their role is. Go to the boutique and show off their fun things. Come to your studio, and it just kind of tosses it up a little bit. There's a little bit more variety. So twofold beneficial for us. Our show is more entertaining, and beneficial for the business because we're there. We're showing, whatever it is, product, inventory, whatever it is, your set, things like that. So I would love, again, to say I thought of it, but I certainly didn't. This style of programming is brand new to our area. And when I say our area, I mean like our viewing area. We've never had it in Wichita, Hutch, things like that. I believe before I moved here, I've heard that there were similar shows, but they were on the live side of things. But what we have in Good Day, Kansas, I believe is the first time in our viewing area, which I get giddy about. So
it's amazing. Yeah.
So it was a development of our, KSN is part of what's called Nexstar Broadcasting. And so it's funny because now Nexstar Broadcasting has our type of programming, lifestyle entertainment, everywhere. And we were one, I would like to think, and I think our team could back me up on this, but they launched our show along with maybe like a handful of others across the United States. And, a lot of us found a lot of success on air and budgeting and, doing good things in the community. There's lots of reasons why the show is successful. But since we launched, we got in about a year, another wave of like more shows have been started across the states. So it's cool because I know of one show in particular over in Kansas City who was built after us, and they look at us for like inspiration.
They kind of use your model to build their own show off of.
Exactly, which, I came over from KC, so I have a unique perspective, but I feel like being in Wichita, that's where we're based out of, obviously. A lot of people here feel like, and this is just what I've observed, that like they're like the stepsister or stepbrother to KC.
Yeah.
And for once, I feel like this started in Wichita, and now Kansas City is being influenced by it. So it's very cool for us to kind of watch that.
Yeah, so maybe we're the older sibling.
Let's go,
Kansas
right?
City's just modeling after us.
It's interesting, and I'm sure that they're modeling after a lot, but I do know that they've gained some inspiration from our program, which is cool.
Yeah. One thing that I've noticed, especially in Wichita, is how much local people are supporting local places and locals, like the whole mindset of just shopping local.
Exactly.
Is blowing up, and it's huge. Do you think that's a culture thing across the U.S., or is that something that's unique to Wichita?
You know, when I came here, it was something that stuck out to me as unique. So, you know, again, coming over from Kansas City, you see small businesses everywhere, but coming here, I've been like wildly impressed by a couple things. Namely, the entrepreneurial like vibe here is wild. I feel like children in elementary and middle school have more of like a entrepreneurial spirit than I've ever seen. So
that's cool.
It's so cool. I mean, it's I know I had always heard about it, I guess. You know, I only lived a few hours away, but I never got to see it. And coming here and seeing it, and we've met so many entrepreneurs like yourself. I'd put yourself in that.
Would you?
Oh, for sure.
This is more of a hobby, though, for me. You know,
but you're doing it, and you had to build what you have, and you had to invest, and you had to learn, you had to educate yourself, and now you are, you know, basically one-man band. No disrespect over there, buddy.
Yeah, I con friends into switching cameras for me sometimes.
But, you know, you're an example of it, and I would say, so that is something that stuck out to me is just very, it's just a very supportive community. And then the second thing along those lines would be it's just very collaborative.
Yeah.
There are so many groups that seem to solely exist to hype up everybody else. I just think that's so cool.
That is cool. You see people on social media that's their whole purpose is to hype up local businesses.
I'm like, that's
and
awesome.
That's what you are too.
We're trying.
The only difference is you're not on social media. You're on an actual news channel.
Yeah,
so you're giving people real airtime, basically, you know?
You know, we try to be both because, as you and I both know, like, our world is ever changing. And if you don't have a digital footprint at this point, you're
way behind.
You are. And so, yes, we are a on-air television program, but, you know, I feel lots of pressure to also maintain social media channels as well. You know, our website, for example, and things like that. So, yes, we are TV first, but so much comes with just brand development. And that is something that I didn't expect to enjoy so much, but I've really actually enjoyed that aspect of it as well. So it's at the bottom line is always going to be helping people and sharing stories, but we have a few different mediums. So it's been cool.
Yeah. Maybe Wichita has that entrepreneur American dream like spirit because there's not much else to do around here. There's not, you know, we don't have mountains to go hiking in or
maybe
Top Golf like Kansas City, even though we're getting it soon.
It's coming. Just be patient.
It is cool though. It kind of makes it feels like we do live the American dream a little bit here in Wichita still, where anybody can be anything.
I believe that people here believe that.
Yeah.
And that in itself is just admirable.
That's
I just
awesome.
think that's so cool.
Yeah. So what is a typical day like for Jillian?
Yeah.
What are you doing all day?
I love this question because I think people are always like, what? Huh? Why?
We know you go everywhere, but what's your work schedule actually like?
Yeah. So I am I'm a morning gym goer. And if I don't get there, it's not going to be a good day.
Your day's ruined.
Yes. But so that's how I start my day.
I envy people like that.
It's the athlete in me. It's just been ingrained. So it's just, it's how I start my day. So get that out of the way. We get to the station at 8 a.m. Again, I have a great amount of respect for news anchors, news reporters. All of our morning crew get in at like 2:30 or 3. I could never do that.
Wow.
I couldn't do it.
Well, not to interrupt your daily routine here, but real quick, have you ever been a news anchor?
Never.
Never?
News is not for me. I think I've found my niche. I came from the world of sports, and I'm now in lifestyle entertainment, and I feel like what I'm doing actually gets to blend a little bit of both because we do cover sports and athletes and whatnot. So I love my niche. I love where I am. I feel like I really, truly just get to be me.
Is it true that you were a Chiefs cheerleader at one point?
I was, yeah. 6 long years. I absolutely loved my time there.
That's so cool.
It was incredible. We were 2-14 one season, so not so much the Chiefs that we know of, in these most recent years. But that whole experience I could talk to you for hours and hours and hours about. It was just incredibly rewarding, challenging. Yeah. I grew so much as a person, as a teammate, as a professional. I have so many positive things to say about
You're in Arrowhead Stadium every Sunday. I mean,
so cool.
How cool is that?
And honestly, the NFL is just such a powerful organization to be a part of and to learn from. And then, yes, I'm biased, I'll just say it, but the Kansas City Chiefs organization is full of some incredible people.
Oh, I agree. So, the best people.
Yeah, I miss them a lot. But
we can get into that later. But anyway,
but
so
my day, we get in at 8, thankfully. We typically, our hours that we shoot or that we're out doing stories and interviewing and segments and whatnot are typically about, I would say, like 9 to 4. But we are at the station 8 to 5. And we are, we air, like I mentioned earlier, about 5 segments a day. So in order to stay afloat, if you will, and we'd love to be ahead, we like to record about 5 a day on average. Obviously, there are 2 hosts. I have a co-host, and so he's out doing his thing. I'm out doing my thing. We're very blessed to be afforded 3 incredible photographers. That's not the case in every show. So we are aware that we are very, very blessed on that. You met Dave. He's incredible. Mm-hmm. Dave and Myron, 2 of our photographers, are also responsible for all the commercials that you see on air on KSN. So, and then we have Greg, our main guy, who's incredible. So we're out and about recording segments everywhere we go. Like I think I mentioned to you earlier, today I had a 10 o'clock, an 11 o'clock, a 12 o'clock, and 2 at 1:30. So we're just boom, 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 boom.
Are you planning all of this yourself?
Yeah, which is so cool. Honestly, again, that's another blessing that I appreciate. And some might say like, oh my God, you have to find your own stuff. I love it. I personally, I feel more invested when it is something that like I'm truly interested about.
Yeah.
And if it's something that I know nothing about, like I get to go meet someone in their business, in their home, in their wherever, and they get to tell me about what they love, about what their passion is.
Yeah.
There is nothing that's going to top that.
There's not.
And then I get paid to do it. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so, so grateful. But for example, today we were with a local business, I would say a small local business, learning about a boutique, so the fashions that they have in store right now. We spoke with I would say a larger partner in the medical industry who provided some information just about, it's Autism Awareness Month. And so we're learning about the spectrum and support systems for families, et cetera. We also met an artist who is so cool, and we got to show off her graphic design abilities, and she does custom cards and incredible things. And we were out learning some gardening tips and tricks, and just, it's springtime, so how can we get our gardens ready? And that is like a pretty typical day. And so you throw lunch in there somewhere sometimes. And then, back at the station, and it's writing all my web stories for the website, posting everything on Facebook, getting my Instagram story out, getting my, I probably forgot Twitter today, to be honest with you, but
I know that feeling.
I know.
That's just so much to deal with. I mean,
yeah, it is. It's a lot you sift through a lot. However, if you can get your plan, if you can get it all out, today's Monday, so it's just one day. So just tackle the day, get it all situated, go out and record everything, come back. If we need to edit, I'm very, very blessed. And I think I mentioned earlier, we have 3 photographers. They also edit all of our pieces. I will help where I can. I edit about 2 segments a month, which is...
Do you?
I'm proud to say that now, because I did not go to school for editing, photography, broadcast, any of it.
Yeah.
And through working with my team, namely Greg McFadden, I now know how to edit, which I never in my life expected to learn how to do.
It's a great skill to have, especially today.
And you know that, yeah. So...
But you're the person on TV. You're the person that we want to see when we turn on the TV, right?
Well, you're stuck with me if you're watching Channel 3, that's for sure. But yeah. And
so there's like 5 of you behind Good Day Kansas total?
There is, I have to count. We're blessed. We have a main producer, myself, and our coordinator who started the show. Then we added our 2 commercial producers, and then we added a co-host. So we actually have 6.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's a big team, but to be honest with you, we could definitely use some more help.
Could you?
We are spread pretty thin.
Well, it's a ton for 2 people to do. I mean, 5 segments a day.
Mm-hmm.
So even if you're both doing 5 a day and all those don't get aired, right?
No, it's a matter of just dropping it in. It's all, every day is a new puzzle, is how we kind of put it. And, some days it's our sports segment. Some days it's our fitness, some fashion, some cooking. It's all across the board. And we like to think we kind of have it sorted out, but there's ebb and flow, like we mentioned, and you kind of live and learn. And
there's a lot you're learning there too. You're meeting these people
so
all day long, different stuff you've never really experienced before. So you're retaining a lot of that stuff. You're probably more well-rounded just doing this show, aren't you?
I laughed my butt off because I told, my mom, we're from New York City. Like, that's where we were all born. My parents grew up there. I left when I was young, but that's still semi-home for us. And I told my mom, Mom, we're doing this segment. We're going to go 13 weeks, and we're learning about Kansas corn. And she's like, what?
Well, who cares?
And, it didn't catch her attention. However, the people across the state of Kansas are so proud of our farmers and what they do and what they produce and what they allow for our world to
feed the world here in Kansas.
The lives we get to live because of our Kansas farmers. I said this jokingly, no disrespect, but I said I feel like I earned a degree in farming. And I know that's not a thing, I'm just being silly, but we learned the process of turning corn into ethanol to fuel your vehicles. And it was, when I say we learned it, like, we went out to the farm and got to meet these people who are just incredible. And what they do is it goes unnoticed,
Oh, yeah.
And so
we're the flyover state,
We're coming around.
You're changing that, though.
We're coming around.
Yeah. People don't recognize or realize the hours and the work that those farmers put in around here,
And the lifestyle, it is just we met a farmer who I think he was like maybe 26 years old, maybe. And he was committed and in it and just always knew that this was going to be his life. Like, when I was growing up, I didn't have hey, you're going to be a part of the farm. Like, that's your thing,
right.
I just did my own thing, but it's just wild to me, the sacrifices they make and then what they provide, not only just Kansas, but our country.
Without our farmers, the world is not what it is. It's not fed.
Yeah, it's wild. It's wild. And going back to feeling well-rounded, I jumped out of a plane on our show, and that was never something I expected to do.
Did you enjoy it?
I had a blast. I will say, again, I would never have been like, one day I'm going to jump out of a plane. No.
Well, luckily they put you in one of those little janky planes that makes you want to jump out, when you're skydiving.
You know what? It was an experience. It was incredible. And again, I've done things like that. I've learned to crochet. I've learned about farming. I've learned you name it. A meat market. I learned how to put meat through the processor, and I had the hairnet on and everything. And it just, to me, is so cool. And I think I mentioned it, but I will say it 100 times again. Meeting someone where they are and hearing what they love. It could be something I'm not interested in or something I am interested in. No matter what, if they love it, I love it.
Just something they're passionate about. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's kind of how I feel talking to you right now. You love your job so much,
I do.
And it's very fun being around people that are like that are just all about what they do and passionate about what they do.
Yeah.
It's just a great experience, and I love sharing drinks with people like that. You care if I pour another one, by the way?
Please. I know I yap a lot. Sorry.
No, that's perfect for a podcast.
Well.
Our farmers do a lot more than ethanol, too. They make whiskey for us, which is my favorite.
Yeah. Are you a whiskey drinker?
I'm a whiskey drinker, yeah.
Okay, very cool.
Obviously, I'm an everything drinker, but whiskey's a big one for me.
Nice. Yeah. No, we got to meet the friends behind Boot Hill Distillery.
Yeah, they actually just sponsored my last episode.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
How cool is it? They're great people.
They're wonderful people.
And they're small town farmers turned, they're creative enough and ambitious enough, and look what they did. That was really cool to learn their story, and they had us out. We went all the way to Dodge and learned a little bit about everything. And we haven't even talked about the show making its way through the pandemic. But
yeah, let's get into that.
Well, while we were there, they were one of the groups that started making sanitizer in massive quantities.
I remember breweries and stuff doing that around Wichita.
Yeah, and they were a group that did it out west, obviously.
Yeah.
But again, I just think that gets back to just the farmers, how smart they are and what they can do and seeing a need and just fulfilling it, so they're pretty cool.
What are some of the struggles that you've had doing this show? I know the pandemic you mentioned. Were there anything else in the beginning that kind of... Yeah.
I will tell you, I love this question, actually. Again, we were the first... I would say, lifestyle entertainment program to come to our market or our viewership. I'm not kidding you when I say that I used to call people, reach out to them. I will find you on Facebook. I will find you on Twitter. I will find you on Instagram, wherever I need to find you. And we would ask people like, hey, we'd love to come out and showcase your business, showcase what you do, what you offer. We'd love to come. It's recorded. It's not live. There's no pressure. We'll get great video of what you do, and we'll throw it on air. We'll also put it on social media for you, blah, blah, blah. And these people would be like, why?
Yeah, what for?
What do you mean?
Yeah.
What are you going to charge me? Like, all these things. We got, like, not necessarily hard no's, but we just got like these faces of questioning us. Like, are you crazy? Like, do you really intend that I believe you? And Greg, my producer and I, we would just be like, no, really? Like, we're literally just here to help you.
Yeah. See, that's wild because I've experienced something similar in a way.
Okay, I'm sure you have.
I mean, not to that extent, but more like when I tell people to come on the podcast, they're like, well, I don't have anything to say. What would you want to interview me for?
And you're like, but you
And I'm like,
do.
you work a job, obviously. You're still
what it
employed.
is.
You know about it. You have a story. And it's easier than people think. So if anyone's listening and they've thought about this, I mean, literally, we're just sitting here having a drink.
Chilling. Yeah, having a good drink.
But I know what you're talking about because people, they're hesitant to do something that they don't know about or is unknown to them. They've never really done it before.
Yeah, and, we maintained a level of respect in regards to, I'm asking someone if we can learn about their business. This is probably something that they've put blood, sweat, and tears into. And, in today's world, I hate the cancel culture, but it is a thing. And so I do understand why people were hesitant while we were so new and young. And to be honest with you, we're still very young. In TV terms, we're still, my producer always says, we're still an infant. Cracks me up.
But that's what's amazing is how fast you grew it, because everybody that I told, I'm going on Good Day Kansas, they were like, you're kidding me. I see that on TV all the time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cool. That's good to hear because it took a lot to get there.
It's
It's
in
still
my
taking a
office
lot.
where I work in my normal job, my day job, we have it on quite a bit,
That's so cool. That's so cool.
And we're not always around the TV or anything, but just having
Right.
it on, and I see segments all the time.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah.
I hope that some of them interest you.
Oh, it does, especially after I went on to it. I love, and you say that it's not live, right? But it's still almost live.
But you understand because
Yeah.
you actually did it. So we're called live to tape. So in essence, our aim is to have one conversation where it feels pretty live, right? Where
It feels authentic. It's not chopped
Exactly.
up.
Exactly. We prefer organic conversation. Now, if someone is utilizing our program for advertising and marketing and they put some dollars behind it, we completely understand if they say, you know what, can we do that question again?
Yeah.
Or, hey, I forgot to completely explain this element of our business. We are happy to do it again, or add something in or take something out. That's fine. But we do aim, and I think you understand this because you've been kind of in the hot seat, if you will.
I have, yeah.
But we aim to have an organic conversation.
And that's so important today.
Yeah.
Because one thing people are afraid of, the news media, like the big corporations, have made a reputation.
Yeah.
Some of them have anyways, where they'll skew people's words or they'll chop it up. And that's not the case with you at all. You can tell when you're sitting down with me, like it's a straight conversation. You didn't throw in any bullshit or any, you know what I'm saying?
Or we always say, like, we have no ulterior motives. Like, literally our whole purpose is we probably came to you because we thought you were cool and interesting and could add something to the show, but whatever it is that you want to say, do, show, like that's where we go, And so, there's...
You got to pride yourself on that one, That's a huge deal.
I appreciate that. And we, as a team, we certainly appreciate the ability to do that because, again, a lot of my colleagues, they don't even really get to like smile on air because, or they.
Yeah, because there's a certain set of standards they have to abide by.
Yeah.
Whereas you, it's your show, so you can be yourself.
Be crazy.
Yeah.
And I say it in that way, in a fun kind of way, but there are, and again, I have the utmost respect for journalists and anchors who have to go to great lengths to maintain credibility and being trustworthy. And I think sometimes people probably just assume like, oh, she's on Channel 3. Like, she's a news anchor. She's whatever. You put us all kind of in the same category, which I understand. And I don't disagree. Some gray area.
Well,
there.
it's just one of those things where it's like, if I told somebody I'm in the Air Force, they automatically assume I'm a pilot.
Probably. That's
if
similar.
you say you work
That's
for
similar.
KSN, they automatically assume you're a news anchor.
Exactly.
Because they don't think about the other jobs that are involved in making this whole thing run, this whole operation.
Yeah, and whereas I know my place quite well. I understand we are lifestyle entertainment. So no one is going to be looking to us for breaking news. No one is going to tune in to Good Day Kansas to understand any information in regards to the pandemic, in regards to the political race. Like, we get that. Now, sometimes, unfortunately, we get thrown in this big, kind of we're all under the same umbrella. We understand we are not. And I think maybe more so for the journalists and investigative reporters and anchors, they want to make sure that they're not in our area.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah. But that's why your segment works so well, because it is a break from all that stuff.
And that right there is exactly why through the pandemic, we felt so appreciated by our community, because we got such great feedback that said, it's so nice to just hear something about, anything positive. It's so nice and refreshing.
Such a break from the main news to see, this person is opening up a new business in Wichita for us,
Or, hey, we're all stuck inside, but check out this family. They're having a blast doing a fake vacation on their driveway.
Yeah.
And they, use chalk to create a beach. And they, Now, again, I believe firmly there is a need for journalism and news anchors and reporters and
for sure.
And then I also believe there is a need, for something like
for positivity. Yes.
Exactly. So, and I just feel very grateful that I've found my way to that side of things. That's just who I am as a person, I think.
It fits your personality perfect.
Yeah. I get to I get to giggle, I get to laugh, I get to I get to be myself.
You get to show how happy it makes you just to hear about somebody, like you said, be passionate about their business or what they're doing.
Yeah.
So it's a perfect fit, right?
I am very grateful, and I believe that. So until they tell me, hey, everybody's sick of you, it's something that I'm very grateful to do every day.
When you were younger, before you became a cheerleader or anything like that, did you ever think about being on TV or doing stuff in that?
Yeah, it's so funny. I always start like kind of where I am now. I go back and say, if you believe it or not, my parents had to send me to school because I wouldn't talk. And now I get paid to talk. I talk for a living in many different areas. But no, I was never. So from the time I was about 8 years old, ish, I would say maybe 5th grade, so maybe 10, 11, I knew I wanted to be a teacher and I wanted to be a soccer coach. And I did just that. I became a teacher. I was a teacher for 6 years in 3rd grade, and a 3rd grade teacher for 6 years, excuse me. And to this day, I'm still a soccer coach. And those two career paths were so important to me. And I'm so grateful for both of them. But TV was never a thing. Never.
Never even crossed your mind?
No, absolutely not. I played Division I athletics. I was a soccer player, and that was always my focus. And I was really blessed to have incredible coaches in my life and teachers in my life that I was like, I could do this. I want to do this. I want to help people. I'm one of 5 kids. My family of 7. Like, we're a big team. I've been a part of a team since I could breathe. And so I've always been around a team. And that's where I feel most comfortable. And that's where I feel around the right team, when you feel supported and like someone's relying on you. That's where I feel my best. And so being a teacher, being a coach, you kind of that leader position, but you're in a team, you're teaching people how to be a teammate and et cetera. So, I'm very blessed. My father was military, and I feel like I got a lot of who I am is who he was. And that's something I will always and forever be so, so grateful for. I was a teacher for 6 years, and I loved it so much. And, unfortunately, like, education has been tough, and where I was teaching, a lot of the focus started to slip away from the children, and it was really adult issues. It was really, you hear standardized tests and you hear all those things, and It was very unfortunate. But so I started to understand, maybe this was something that I did for this season of my life. And, I loved it, and I'm so grateful. But it's kind of a weird turn of events. I actually lost my dad. And in that process, you just reevaluate. And you just stop and just think about life. And it was a time period for me where I was like, whoa, okay, there's more to do here, you know. And I was with the Chiefs at the time. I was still coaching. But I jumped on an opportunity to break into sports broadcast because it was so weird. He passed. I finished out the school year, and then I stepped away from teaching, and I jumped into, I was a teacher for 6 years where I was basically a 10-year teacher, right? And I became an intern. And so I jumped into, it was a MASL, which is, it's arena soccer in Kansas City. So the Kansas City Comets, shout out to them. They were, at the time, owned by the same ownership group that owned the women's team at the time, which was called FC Kansas City. And you can tell me to come back in as I go on this tangent here, but I think it explains kind of how I got to where I am.
Yeah.
Anyway, they were the NWSL, which is the Women's Soccer League, was brand spanking new in Kansas City, and it was owned by the team that owned the arena men's team. So I convinced them to let me come in and be an intern in their communications department. I made up this job where I was going to be their reporter and digital reporter, digital host, and I just went to work. And again, I went from being a 10-year teacher to an intern, and mind you, unpaid intern at that.
Was it pretty scary?
It was very scary. It was wild, but I had this feeling that now or never.
Yeah.
And I was going to bet on myself because it was just something that my father's impact on me. He had 5 children, but all 5 of us took his influence and his impact in different ways. And excuse me as I get emotional here, but no, he really just made me believe that I could do what I wanted to do if I was willing to work.
That's amazing. And
so I did. And so I went out there and convinced them to let me do my thing, and it really started to grow, and it was really great. There were many different phases throughout my internship where I questioned everything I just did. I just quit my job.
You would sit there and be like, am I doing the right thing here?
I'm sitting here with no health insurance. I'm sitting here with, and my income was only my coaching salary at the time. So weird coming away from 6 years of, not that teacher pay is all that great, but but insurance and a salary, etc. But I was willing to do it, and I believed, and I had enough people around me that supported me. I was a Chiefs cheerleader at the time, and that was my support system, and my family, and they were my family. So anyway, you fast forward a little bit, with the Chiefs, I earned some respect there, being that I dove, head first into the world of broadcast. But I did it. I took that leap, and I was with these 2 teams. I covered them both for seasons that were really great.
It was something you could put on your resume and have as proof now that look what I actually did. You know?
Exactly. And it was I think it was just a big statement to say, like, as a cheerleader, I did a lot of media, and I did a lot of appearances and things like that. As a teacher, it's almost like you're public speaking all the time. As a coach, same thing. And I think we've known each other long enough now. I love to talk, and I love people.
Yeah, for sure.
So I think I earned some respect when I said, I made that statement like, no, I'm getting into this. This is what I'm doing now. So it was crazy timing. The U.S. women's national team was in town in Kansas City at the time, and all the things were falling into place as long as I was willing to take the risk. So I did it. And fast forward to the position on the live lifestyle show that I was sharing with you about. It started as a little tiny open door, and I just barreled through it. And that's what you have to do, right?
You do,
You have to take those opportunities. And next thing you know, I earned an opportunity to find myself on the sideline of an NFL network preseason Chiefs game, and not with my pom-poms, but with a microphone. And that was big for me. And so from those moments, and then, of course, working with Chiefs, their in-house production crew is insane.
Oh, I imagine.
They are incredible. They are incredible people. They took a bet on me, and we ran with it. And I was able to win an Emmy through their help of helping to produce and host a
Were you really?
a 30-minute program. Yeah. So we have an Emmy behind our names. They have multiple, like countless, because I mean, they're amazing.
Top notch.
They really are. But the one I was a part of, we actually won. So that was another thing that was like, okay, Jillian, like this is a sign that you did the right thing.
Yeah.
You know? And then I got to move over to MLS, Major League Soccer, and work with Sporting Kansas City, which with my background in soccer, like that was a dream come true. And we worked with Fox Sports KC for that, now known as Bally Sports Network. But, you know, all these things came only because I was willing to bet on myself.
You were willing to take the leap.
Which, if you know me, and I am a planner, and I am very like cautious, and I am very methodical, I think all of my friends were like, oh God, is she okay? Is
she losing it here?
Literally, even my family, you know. But
I think that's might be why you respect and value listening to people so much that are starting their own thing, or are maybe in that period of their life where they're like scared, but they're betting on themselves, because you know exactly what that takes.
Yeah.
You know the feeling. You know how it feels to sit there and go, I don't know if this is a good idea, but I feel like I should do it. You know?
It is
a lot of people
wild.
don't know that.
Yeah, and I think you hit it on the head. It's just like that feeling, like there's so much uncertainty, there's so much in question, and you know, I'm just recently engaged. I'm still not married.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. I say recent. I really shouldn't, because we're getting married in 3 months, and I'm kind of freaking out about it. But I bring that up to say, like, it was just me, you know, and it was just myself being like supporting myself, and so it was like, oh crap, what did I do? You know, I had lots of those moments, and it was, you know, it was just an experience. I'm so grateful for it.
And look at you now.
Wow.
I mean, cheers to you, Jill.
Thanks. We're trying.
Cheers to you.
I appreciate that.
I mean,
I still got a long ways to go. That's for sure.
Yeah.
But
I'm sorry to hear about the loss of your father.
Thank you.
But I mean, he's probably looking down and pulling some strings, maybe even,
you know,
the way things unfolded like that.
1,000%.
Yeah.
1,000%. Yeah, he's an incredible guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a crazy story. It's cool. I mean, it's so important for other people to hear it too, and I love listening to people talking about betting on themselves and just throwing it all out there. Like, this is it, you know?
Yeah.
You weren't making any money in the beginning doing it.
Yeah.
You were an intern. And that's the only way real things happen, though, don't you think? I mean, you've talked to way more people than I have, but success comes from a lot of time just jumping out there and doing stuff.
And I have to say, like, I think the biggest thing for me was always, like, financially, I was, like, so scared for that. And the other piece of it was, like, that was my identity. For a very long time, I was a teacher and I was a coach, and I was, you know, with the Chiefs, and this is who I was. This is Jillian. Like, my friends would describe Jillian as ABC, you know what I'm saying? And so then to just flip the script, like, it was weird. It was, like, I had to get comfortable with it, and it took a while. And then, you know, you worry about your reputation, because you used to be the girl that had everything together, and, you know, and then I'm like, well, I don't have health insurance at the moment. But, you know, it's all part of my story and my journey. And I think about it often, that time period where I was like, oh my gosh, what did I just do?
Doesn't it kind of feel fun now when you look back on that?
It's so funny. This is random. I was scrolling through photos, trying to find a photo of one of my girlfriend's birthdays. So I wanted to post for her, and I came across a time where, like, I know very well in that moment I was not feeling confident, accomplished, maybe worthy, you know, maybe, you know, I have a college degree, I almost a master's, and I don't have a job, you know. Those moments where I was like, whoa, you know. But then I became my father's daughter again and just used it as motivation, you know. So it is cool to think through those moments, but it's also like, whew, glad I made it out.
Yeah, and it's like not that crazy for me, but starting the podcast and everything, it's almost like jumping off of a cliff or a hill where once you do it, it just rolls and it just keeps going.
That's so cool.
And I mean, you know the feeling. It just, and then things work out. I don't know how it happens, but things work out.
Yeah, I feel like all karma is a thing, is a real. I believe in it, and I believe those kind of struggles we went through earlier allowed things to align, right? And so I'm very grateful. I'm very aware. And so, I mean, I think that just makes me more aware of like, okay, wake up every day and like do the right thing and help people. And remember why you're really here, and remember what's really important.
That's one thing that I've definitely noticed about you, just knowing you over the past month or two, is that you're a genuine person and you're so grateful. I mean, just this conversation right now, you're so grateful and blessed. You use those words all the time. You're not just thinking that you deserve all of this stuff. Like, oh, of course this happens to me because I deserve it. No, you have your mind in the right place, and the best things happen to people that do have that mindset.
Thank you. I appreciate that a lot. I feel like in today's world in general, more so maybe in media or even a role that you're out there, if you will. Yeah. It's important to keep your feet on the ground. It's just important. And you can believe it or not, whether you work at this job or that job, like you wake up in the morning and people see you and you have the choice. You can maintain that kind of my feet are on the ground, this is who I am, this is what I do, or you cannot. And unfortunately in my industry it's, I think, very easy to go that other direction. It
definitely is. Yeah.
So it's you have to be mindful about it. And again, that's all about keeping the right people in your corner. And keeping people in your corner that are going to be like, listen, girl, take a seat, okay? Like, you're great, but you're not that great, I need that, and I'm grateful for that. I have friends that are wildly successful and talented and moms. They had this career, and they're also a mom, and people like that keep me, like, in check, if that makes sense.
Yeah, definitely.
Like, yeah, cool, great, you did all that, but, like, did you have a baby yet? Or did you, whatever it is.
Yeah, that's another full-time job after you get off work,
Yeah, exactly. So, in order to maintain that kind of mentality, I think it's important to have the right people around you. So it's, it's been great. And I've been incredibly, wildly blessed with the people who have been in my life, whether it be from soccer teams or, education majors that are, or my former colleague teachers, the Chiefs cheerleaders that I'm so blessed to still be a part of, or even people here in Wichita that kind of weirdly, cautiously invited me into their community, but now I feel like their arms are finally open.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So it's all about who's around you, and you can control some of that too. So it's where you put yourself and where you spend your time and who you let in,
What would your advice be to somebody that's young, that's maybe stuck in a job or maybe stuck in school and they don't know what they're going to do, but they see something like you and they're like, how does somebody end up like that? Because I know I've seen people like that throughout my life. They're on TV and I'm like, how did they get there? How did that all start? What would your advice be to people like that might want to be on Good Day Kansas someday or maybe starting their own show or whatever it might be?
Yeah, I think, and like, it's crazy because like today's world, I do feel like, I was saying this earlier specifically about this area that we live in, like young people do have kind of, I know this is silly, but like the world at their fingertips, right? Like you hear that, but really, like, I mean, if you want to do it in today's world, like you probably have the opportunity in some way, shape, or form, very easily accessible. I just think it's so important to, I know that sounds crazy, but like work hard for whatever it is. If it comes too easy to you, it can be taken too easy from you. And I believe that, and I've lived that too. Because in the life that I have lived, in the situations I've been in, and, industry I work in, like sometimes things come to you. When you don't earn them, I feel like they find a way to be taken from you, if that makes any sense.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And so it's important, I believe, to find whatever it is you're interested in and go learn everything you can about it. Go, like what you're doing, like learn about people in that role.
Yeah.
Here, I think I was writing the web story for your segment, and I said, he showcased so beautifully the details about the job that aren't on the job description.
Exactly. You know? This is the behind the scenes.
Exactly. But I think it's so important. I think you have to really truly learn, because you can see someone, even if it's a gosh, a lawyer, you know, or again, maybe someone on TV, you have no idea what goes on behind the scenes.
Exactly.
No idea.
Yeah.
A farmer, for example, you have no idea the sacrifices, the work ethic, like the hours you put in. And I think sometimes you'd be surprised by the difficulty, and then sometimes maybe the opposite, you know? And so I just think, advice-wise, I just think it's whatever catches your interest, sparks some interest within you, whether it be something that you thought you would do in your life or not, like learn about it, spend time, meet someone in that role, go shadow if you can, but learn. I think the worst thing you can do is just sit from afar and be like, I could do that job, you know. And
I guarantee I could do that, but then they don't do anything.
Exactly. And I, to be honest, like, get that a lot, where people's like, you know, I think I could do that.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, here, come learn about what it like really takes to do this. And I'm sure you've heard that from a lot of people, because you are learning about so many
There's nothing to it. You just sit there and do this. Well, okay, come do it
like,
then.
Really? And that's not to say anything, you know, in a disrespectful way, but it's just, I think some jobs, there's just so much behind the scenes that you have no clue.
Exactly. Yeah. And like going back to what we said earlier with the conversation, I mean, just making sure that you're not chopping things up and taking things out of context. People nowadays especially like to filter out all of the fake stuff. I want to see what's real. And that's why, you know, they don't want to hear a doctored up version of what this job does and the official duty title and the official duties. Like, they want to hear, like me and you talking right now, about what actually happens. What do you actually do?
Yeah. And I think what comes to mind when I feel like that side of my job is like, you know, we cover the state of Kansas, and we have so many communities 2 hours away, 3 hours away, 4 hours away. And so a lot of, and I'll be so honest, I was blown away by, in my first year, how much time we spent on the road. Literally just driving to, you name it, we've been there. And whereas every time we get to Colby, Kansas, or Garden City, or Liberal, Kansas, like whenever we get there, it's amazing. We learn from these people, you know. We were in Colby, and I climbed up into a swather the size of a house, I swear. Probably cost more than a house, you know. And so those experiences are invaluable to me.
Oh yeah.
But it took us 3 hours to get there, or 4, whatever it is. And so I think that was something for me, which might just sound like, oh, I hope you're not car sick, or I hope you can hang in the car. Like, that was something that my job, I had no clue that was going to entail, because I came from this world of, oh, my guest is going to come see me in my cushy studio.
Exactly. Yeah. That's what makes your show so cool, though, like I said. And even when you're retired someday and you're done and you finally want to hang it up, you'll still have all those experiences with you in your memory. And you could be driving around with your grandkids or whatever it might be and say, oh, I've been in a swather like that.
Yeah.
You know?
Which, yes. No, 100%. And this is people, my coworkers, like, I think they have a love-hate relationship with me, because everywhere I go, I make them take pictures. Yeah. We're taking a picture. Come on, you're getting in this picture. We're doing this. One photographer in particular is like, Jillian, like, no. Like, no. But it's just important to me to remember those, like, have those moments and be able to reflect. And probably a lot of that is, you know, I did lose my father at a young age-ish. I'd say young, and I didn't have enough photos of him. And I will never not take pictures. Like, that is just so important. You know, you just have to capture
all those moments.
Exactly. Because you want to relive them.
For sure, yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, do you have any funny memories on the job? Like, have you ever had any interviews with people that got jacked up or they said something crazy?
Oh my gosh, so many times.
Really?
So we have a whole segment surrounding animals. And so that just right there is just a big, like, variable, right? I've been interviewing people, and I had a woman take out a tarantula and literally rest it on my chest, like literally rest it here.
During the interview?
During our interview. And it's like, you know, I knew we had everything out. We had animals, and she just, I'm not kidding you, Jesse, she picked it up and put it on me.
So what did you do?
I tried not to scream, but I absolutely reacted. We had another time where we were at a really fun business, and they have all sorts of crazy animals. You name it, they have it. Well, we weren't rolling at the time. We weren't like in the interview, but my photographer was actually still rolling. His camera was on, if you will. And anyway, this is one of my favorite bloopers ever. The guy came out and was like, just open that one. And it was a tub. and I couldn't get it. And he was like, I'll do it. And he opened it, and it was a like yellow snake. Think about, he like made me do it. You remember the video where Britney Spears is like holding a snake across her back? It was this bright yellow. It was like this thick around. I think it weighed like 150 pounds.
Like a python or something?
I'm not kidding. Oh my God, I about lost it. I squealed for sure in that one.
Not a snake fan?
It just startled me. Like I had no clue what was in this tub. And
yeah.
he was like, just open that, and I couldn't. And then he's like, I'll do it. And he opened it. I'm like, oh my God. Literally. But there's other times too, you know, we haven't talked about it yet, but I also MC for the Wind Surge.
Oh yeah.
The baseball team.
Yeah.
And just the other day, this is so funny. This is embarrassing, but literally the most embarrassing moment I've ever had, like on air, if you will. You know, the games they do such a great job out there. I just love that organization, and they're bringing so much joy to Wichita right now. So I'm so grateful
hell
to be a
yeah.
part of
Shout
it.
out to the Wind Surge.
Yes, big shout out to them. But we do this thing where we name a fan of the game. We look for a fan who's just been awesome all game, whether it be young, old, in between, you name it. We just like to acknowledge them. And so a local business out of Andover is called Vornado Fan. And they've donated a physical fan. Like, think about a fan that you'd put like on the table.
Yeah.
And so it's kind of fun because we're like, you're a fan of the game. Here's a fan. You know, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
So out of nowhere, I know I can sense my guest is a little nervous. And that's something I'm sure you can even pick up on now that you've gotten so many reps under your belt. But I could tell he was nervous. Out of nowhere, I literally asked him, hey, what are you going to do with that fan? Like, I asked him that, like, world's worst question ever. And in the moment where I flipped the mic, and I'm like, Jillian, what did you ask him? What do you even expect?
What are you going to do with it? You going to throw something in it?
Oh, I'm going to plug it in and cool down the house. Like, what?
Yeah, I'm
like,
going to plug it in.
Oh my gosh. So that was for sure, to answer your question, one of the most embarrassing moments I've ever
How
had.
did he answer it?
He was like, and I flipped it back, and I was like,
cool down?
I was like, don't answer that. That was a terrible question. Thank you for being our fan of the game. And I just like tried to get out as soon as I could. But it's funny though. Like, and you know, I worked with athletes too. And we did something where it was a Chiefs player at the time, and we had fans send in questions online, like on Twitter, I think. And it was like, what's your favorite song? And this athlete was absolutely hilarious. And we all knew, like, okay, it'll be a good interview. Well, he started dancing. He like pulled me in and started dancing. I'm like, okay, now I just lost all my credibility. These guys think I'm just the cheerleader that now has, you know what I mean? It's so one of those, but there's always some fun things that happen. We were at the garden center one day, and the sprinklers came on in the middle of our interview.
I hope you're saving some of these bloopers. That'd be a good, you know.
Good reel, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, no, we have some fun things. And then, like I said, we have the right people around us. So sometimes it's just like I start talking and it just comes out of my mouth, right? And you're just like we work with a group on a regular basis, and the guest I get to have on the show, she's so fun. And there was a time where I was like, hey, welcome back in, you know, this is where we are, this is who we're with. And she like totally was messing with me. And she started saying my lines, like, instead of hers.
Like she just flipped it on you and was interviewing you?
Exactly. And I was like,
that's always one of my biggest fears on here, is that somebody's going to do that to me, and I'm going to be like,
She was like, hey, it's Jillian, we're back. And I was like, wait, what?
Why was she doing that?
Just to mess with me. Like, just to have fun with it, you know? But it's just, you never know what's going to happen. You never know. And granted, we are live to tape, and so things like that can be fine and funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's so fun. It's, you know, I've been on the sideline before, and people, so I was a sideline reporter for MLS, so Major League Soccer, and I kind of had my space. And so I remember I was on air live, like breaking down a goal or doing something. I can't remember what I was saying. And I had one of our, I think he was our, I think he did, I can't remember exactly his role, but in the moment he was running a camera. And he wanted me to come over and get ready for the next interview. And he's like pulling on my arm and trying to get my attention. And I'm like, you know, I'm like, hang on. I'm like giving my spiel. I'm like on air, off camera, but giving my sideline report. And I'm like, hang on. He's like, Jillian. I'm like, oh my God, this is happening right now. So there's always some room for comedy, room for error, if you will.
Well, with the amount of people that you interview, there's going to be funny moments in there.
We've had people who literally just so nervous they can't get out of their own head. They can't
talk,
and they just stare at me, and I'm like,
go ahead.
so tell me about that, and my goal is always to make people around me feel comfortable and that no matter what they say, like, I've got your back, I'm right here. But I've had people literally just so stage fright they couldn't even get something out of their mouth. I've had,
those poor people.
Yeah, and you learn there's a lot of nervous tics. Some people are blinkers. Some people are, fidgeters. I would consider myself a fidgeter.
I would too.
I'm a fidgeter.
Yeah.
So.
I'm more of like a hands, like I'm playing with this bottle cap.
Yeah.
But
it's funny. So to answer your question, that was a long-winded answer. I'm sorry. But I had a lot of embarrassing moments. Many self-inflicted, unfortunately, but some also.
It comes with the job.
Some also from my guests as well.
Yeah. I like leaving those moments in there, especially in a podcast format. Like, you're only doing shorter segments, but in a podcast especially, it's like I have room. People can see how much of a idiot I can be sometimes. I'm just another dude. I think
to your point, it makes it shows that, like, no, you're literally like unscripted, unrehearsed. Like, this is just raw. This is just who you are, what you do.
Right.
Like, I think that's cool.
Yeah.
I think that is admirable because I think a lot of people would be too worried about how's it going to come off?
The image and everything.
Is it going to be okay?
Yeah.
Exactly.
Well, thank you for that.
Yeah, no, I think it's great.
We'll wrap it up. Do you have any goals for Good Day Kansas?
Yeah.
What would you like it to be someday?
Yeah, it's so cool to think about that because, again, we're so young. But I absolutely would love our program to just be a resource for the community, not only to find information about what's going on in their own state, but also a resource for, I don't know how to word this correctly, but a place to go to, like, see people being celebrated, see people being, just celebrated and just learning about what they do and what sets them apart and why they're unique. And, oh, by the way, guess what? They're a Kansan just like you.
Exactly.
And so to not only support them and their business and their initiative, but also maybe to inspire someone on the other side of the screen. Hey, like, I see Jesse just started this and he's killing it now. Like, maybe I can do that. Maybe I can start whatever I want to start.
That's so important.
It is. And I just think we have a unique platform that we are on, a news channel, if you will, but we just have this little niche where we're simply community focused, positive, what's going on, how can you stay healthy, how can you stay happy, how can you contribute to your community. I think those are like my underlying, like, hopes for the show. Goals, I
think you're already doing a lot of those things, honestly.
God, I hope so.
I really do.
You just never know,
Yeah.
You just never know. But I think goals, the competitive person in me, when you say something like, what's your goal? That's when I get like, okay, well, I want to move to an hour. I want this
a whole
to be
hour
60
long.
minutes.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I want to be able to be, celebrating X amount of entrepreneurs a week, X amount of diverse community members. That's a big goal for me, as far as just celebrating everyone.
Yes.
Not just the same people all the time, different classes, different communities, economic classes. There's just so much.
Would you ever be willing to expand it out of Kansas, or do you want to keep it focused on Kansas forever?
No, I mean, to be honest, I would love for somebody in Montana to see us and be like, we need to do that.
Yeah.
And like I kind of alluded to before, like, I wish this was mine, Jillian Carroll's show. So let me take that back. I don't wish it were my show. I don't wish that.
No, but if you
I wish I could say like I came up with it, but I did not.
Yeah.
And so.
Or if you could even branch off at some point and make your own big show and you could cover the U.S. or something crazy.
I mean, it'd be so cool. And there are such similar outlets. You think of like an Entertainment Tonight or something like that just comes to mind. But typically, it's hard. Typically, you don't get to stay in the lane that we're in, which is remaining positive, remaining celebratory, remaining not gossipy, no politics anywhere, no news anywhere. It's a unique
definitely
lane that we're in. And
it's a breath of fresh air, though. Like I said,
We hope so. We do, because it takes a lot to put it all together and get it on air, and disperse out across the state and record all the content we can and bring it back and make it pretty and get it on and make sure the show makes sense and make sure that we're inspiring all groups of people, not just a certain age group or a certain race or a certain gender or community. It's important that we make sure everyone is feeling seen and can maybe see themselves in someone on our show.
Oh yeah, that's a big
important.
one.
Yeah. So
if somebody could maybe view that and say, "Wow, like I was thinking about doing the same thing, and they're actually making it happen," you can take inspiration.
It would be cool.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's what you're doing. To be very honest with you, I think that's exactly what you're
It's
doing.
just an excuse for me to drink.
But you're celebrating people.
I am, yeah. I've always been a big fan of that.
Which is
That's
so
why I love
cool.
you guys so much. I love your show so much, honestly.
Thank you.
You're already doing it. You guys are doing an amazing job.
We're
Everybody knows about you. I already said that,
We appreciate that, and we certainly, that's another kind of piece of it. It's not, do they just know about us? Do they know who we are? Would they recognize you in the grocery store? It's more about, have we helped them?
Yes.
Have we helped their business or helped their community? Or there's times where we'll go to a small place and they'll say, the only time the news has ever been here is when there's been a crime or
a break-in or something like that. Yeah.
And so it's nice to help people feel seen and feel part of the community.
It's so important. You're doing such a great thing for the world. Your head is in the right space.
We sure hope so.
I mean, it's just awesome. I think you're an awesome person.
You're very kind. I appreciate.
I'm serious.
I really appreciate that.
And I really appreciate you reaching out to me and having me on, because you have a much bigger following than me.
Well, come on. But I told you that was all our producer Greg. You had on one of his friends, and so he saw it, and then he dug a little deeper, and he said, "Hey, check this out." And then I dug a little deeper, and then we were like, "We're doing it.
Yeah,
get him on the schedule."
I appreciate it so much for coming out here and then coming back.
Of course.
I mean, that means the world to me.
Well, likewise, for having us on Good Day Kansas. Again, we're new, but we're trying, and I just love connecting with people. So I love it.
Hell yeah,
if anyone's listening, reach out to Jesse and come on the podcast, because it's enjoyable and it's fun, and you're supporting a local entrepreneur's goals and spirits and aspirations. So if you can come on, I highly recommend it.
Same with Good Day Kansas.
Thank you.
Tell them where they can find you if they want to come on.
For sure. You can definitely reach out to me, and we always have to say this. Unfortunately, not every business fits in. However, we try our absolute best to get everybody on in some way, shape, or form. But you can reach out on our Facebook, our Twitter, our Instagram. We are very accessible, is what we hope. And everything is at Good Day Kansas. And then I am Jillian Carroll, so you can find me anywhere as well. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, all the places.
Yep. And it's all in my description. Go to my YouTube video or go to my social medias on Facebook, Instagram. If you're listening to this, you probably find me somewhere. And all of this stuff is in the description. So go find Jillian and reach out to Good Day Kansas if you have something cool.
Thank you. Very much appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much for coming on again. It was a pleasure.
Of course. Thank you. It was a good time.
Yeah. And thanks
cheers.
for the wine again.
Yeah.
So cheers, Jill.
Yeah. Maybe we got you your next sponsor.
Maybe.